All right. So today we'll just go and learn a little bit about Power BI. And before we get started, we need to go and understand how this particular tool works. Okay. So let me just get started with a very basic introduction and we'll understand how this goes. All right. Just give me a minute. I'll just turn on my video for some time so that you can look at me. Okay. All right. So have a look at this. We will go ahead and talk about a simple website. And I wanted to get started with this because you need to understand what happens, in a traditional BI tool. We'll just go ahead and understand how that goes. And we'll see and compare that with our BI tool. Okay. Okay, let's do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off with a website called as makemytrip.com. All right. Now, this is not a BI tool. This is not a reporting tool, but we'll understand this. And feel free to stop me anywhere. If you have any questions, please feel free to stop me anywhere. And we'll just get started. And you can just, kind of let me know if you have any questions in between. All right, so let's go ahead and do a kind of a flight booking. You would have gone through a lot of different websites. I'm just going to use makemytrip.com for this example. And I'll have a lot of questions for you. I would like your participation for sure. Okay, just go ahead and give me the answer. That would be great. So let's do this. We'll go ahead and have, our ticket booked and just a sample here. Ticket booked from, let's say, for example, let's go from Mumbai to New Delhi. And let's say we are going to depart on that day and come back on that day. And I'm just going to go ahead and max out these filters just because I want to give a tough time for this particular tool to go ahead and give me the results. Okay, we'll give them the tough time so that you will be able to go ahead and understand how the tool works, and it's going to give me the results based on the details here. So I'm just going to max out these values. Let's just go do that. And let's say I want to just fly on the first class. Everyone here should just go and fly on the first class. And this tool is going to take some time to go ahead and give you the results, in some time, right? So I'll just say apply. And when this tool goes and searches for the result, it has to meet all the criterias. I hope you're getting my point. Yes. And then it has to also give you the reservation for 21 travelers. It cannot put things or put the travelers into many different flights. It has to do that in one single flight. Correct? So all of this has to be considered by the tool before giving us those details. So let's do a search. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the screen and I'll ask you some questions. Let's go ahead and have some interaction and conversation. And then before we get into the details, we'll try to understand what's going on here. Okay. So let me just hit the search. I'll pause the screen and we'll just kind of go through this. Okay. So I'll click on search. And I'm just pausing my screen here just before the search results are given to you. And look at that. There is our criteria. Yes, we said this is our source, destination, departure date, return date, and it's a group booking for 21 travelers, right? That's what is happening. Now there is a pause. Yes or no? There is a pause, and the tool is just going ahead and looking for the details. What do you think is happening behind the scene? Why is there a small pause? And I'll do this in real time for you. You'll understand this better. But why do you think is there a small pause? Anyone? Are you able to unmute yourself? Yes. Let me just check from my side. You can put things on the chat or you can unmute yourself and you can just talk to me. That would be great. I'm just looking at these chat screens here. You're all able to unmute yourself, right? Just talk to me if you can, please. Yes, no?
Yeah, it's from the background, it's fetching the details. What could be the better price for this?
Right. Very good. Very good. Okay. What else? I'm just going to do a search. I'm just going to pause the screen here. Yes. What is it trying to do?
So basically, it is trying to see if there are any available seats for this 21 passengers
Okay.
put together in one flight. So that would be
Okay.
the first criteria. Then once it filters, then it looks out for the cheapest cost,
Mm-hmm.
and then bring that on top of the list for someone to book the tickets.
Very good. So when you say it's searching for the data, where is it searching for the results?
It is searching from the database, the backend.
Very
Yeah.
good. Okay. That's what I wanted to understand. Okay, everyone agrees? Yes. It's going ahead and searching for the details from the database behind the scene. This website should have a server. It's going to looking for the details in the server, right? So can I say that this particular information is being framed as a query? It goes and executes itself against a database and it is trying to come back with a result. Yes or no? Can I say that? Yeah. Everyone agrees? Yes. Yeah, you can feel free to talk to me. Just unmute yourself. Talk to me.
Yes.
Yes or
Yes.
yeah. Correct. So once it gets the results from the database, it goes and gives me the result. Correct. That's how things work. Okay. I want you to understand this process because I'll go and introduce you to how the tools, the BI tools, the reporting tools were working in the past. How is it working today? We want to understand that part. And this is very important for you. All right. So if I just come out of the screen and I'll just do this one more time on a real time. Okay, so let's just do this. So I'm just going to change the source or the destination. Let's just go from Chennai to New Delhi. I'll just do a search and look at that. It's going to take a minute or so, a few seconds to give you the results. It's not done yet. Yes, it's still doing its thing. There are some results obtained. Yes, but it's still not complete. It's looking for those details. It is trying to fetch the data. The query was not processed completely. It gave you some results, but not the complete results. And then we have the list of flights that we want to go and fly. Yes. So this is how things are working here. Understand? So I hope you're getting my point. So it goes and creates a query based on the inputs that we have given. The query is getting executed behind the scene in a database. Yes. And it is trying to go and give you the results based on that. Right? Good. Let's take this information. Let's go ahead and go forward and understand what was happening in the traditional ways of working. Okay. So let me just jump into a few slides here and we'll understand how things are working. Just give me a minute. And you can put your question, post your question on the chat box. You can feel free to just unmute and talk to me. That would be really appreciated. So yeah, let's do this. Okay. All right. So let's move forward. And I'm going to talk about something called as traditional BI. Now, this is not something different. All you have to understand is this is how a BI tool, and we'll get to the definition of a BI, how a BI tool was working like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and so on and so forth. So we are talking about the old tools that were there in the market 10, 20 years ago. And that is what I'm trying to just go ahead and give you a glimpse of so that you'll understand how this works. Okay. All right, let's move on. So this is kind of one of the old traditional tools, and I've worked on this tool. This is called as SSRS. If you have not heard of it, that stands for SQL Server Reporting Services. All right, it's called as a SQL Server Reporting Services. Give me a minute. Yeah, and this is again from Microsoft. Okay, so Microsoft initially provided a suite of product, okay, that was called as Microsoft BI, Business Intelligence, okay. Now, this particular product contained three different products inside it. It was SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services. This is what will be used to go and give you the data from one place or take the data from one place to another place, a source to destination. We use this a lot. This is an ETL tool. We'll go and define and understand an ETL tool in some time. This is called as an ETL tool. It is used to extract the data, transform the data, and load the data into some place. We usually do use this tool to go and use or build a data warehouse. Okay, that's what we do. And then there is a tool called SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. And this is what is now, replaced with Power BI, or, Power BI is just kind of the modern ways of working. This is a traditional ways of working. And this snapshot that you're seeing is all SSRS. Okay. So it requires some inputs, and based on that input, it will go and go to the database. It will give you the results back, and that's how you're getting this here. All right. That's what is happening. There was one more tool called as SSAS, and now this is the backbone of Power BI today. Okay. So this is our backbone for Power BI. SSAS is what on top of which Power BI works. SSAS is more like a, I mean, you don't understand, you won't understand this, but let's go and understand that it's a way to slice and dice your data and then start looking at your data. We call this as a cube, and there are a lot of different terminologies and other things, but let's understand that there was a suite of products given by Microsoft. It was initially packaged as MSBI, and today we call that as Power BI, one of the BI tools, most powerful BI tools. These tools are still there, but I would say SSRS is an outdated tool. It's more like a traditional tool, and Power BI is going to be the modern tool that we will go and work with. All right. That's what is happening here. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. And we'll just talk about the same thing that we did with makemytrip.com. We'll just go ahead and talk about this here. Any questions, anyone? Okay. All right. If you're not talking, please mute yourself. If you wish to just, kind of stop me, ask me a question, yeah, feel free to do that. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the next slide here. And this is what I have. All right. Look at this. We have something called as traditional BI, and we will just go and understand how this is working. I'll give you an example of, you know, how much time it could take to go and give you the details or get you to the data set. So let's go and understand this. Now, I showed you something called as a Make My Trip website. I'm just going to use the same example, but we will understand how things are working in traditional BI. All right. So let's say this is your traditional reporting tool. I gave you an example of SSRS there in the previous snapshot. So let's go ahead and understand that's a tool. And let's say there are some input boxes. You're just providing that from a drop down. You're just doing a text box and inputting those details in the text box. So based on those inputs, what's happening? There is a query getting framed. Yes. And that query needs to be executed on your database. Yes or no? Now let's go take a pause. Let's go step back. We saw that we were searching for some flights, and it's pretty much the same example. It's not a BI tool. It was a website, but we are just talking about a BI tool here, a reporting environment wherein you're trying to pull the data, showcase the data in front of your user. So this is where your user is looking at the data. So you just want to go and understand how to fetch the data and give it to your user, right? So let's consider this example. Let's say, for example, we are talking about Amazon's data set, all right? And what happens with Amazon? Amazon is a big or a giant in e-commerce, right? It's one of the biggest companies in the world right now. And we have a lot of transactions going on every single day on Amazon. Yes or no? Across the globe, it has the presence across the globe. We have so many transactions coming in. Let's say we have millions and millions of transactions. All right. And imagine this. Let's say you're talking about 1 day's data. Yeah, 1 day. And you have millions and millions of transactions. Very good. Let's go ahead and do that for 30 days. Let's go ahead and do that for 1 year. Yes. Let's say I want to go ahead and have the data collected, and for my analysis, I need the data for 5 years. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and say, I need the data for 5 years, last 5 years of Amazon's transaction to go ahead and work with that data. And what we are trying to do here in this particular reporting tool is we will go ahead and say, I want to go pull 5 years worth of data, and there is a query getting framed for that. That query is going, and let's say it's getting executed in your database. Now tell me how much time it's going to take for this query to execute. Is it going to be within fraction of a second that you get the results? Or is it going to take a lot of time to get you the 5 years data? What is going to happen? Answers in the chat or unmute yourself and talk to me. What is going to happen here? A lot of time. Agrees everyone? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So we're talking
Depending.
about huge amount of data. You saw the website struggle for a few seconds, and it's going to take some time to go and give you the results. Yes, we're not talking about few records. We're talking about millions and millions of rows, maybe billions of rows, and that's going to take a bit of a time to go and fetch you the results. Yes. So it takes a little bit of a time, and then you get the query or the data sent to the reporting tool, and then you'll get all those different details in front of you. Getting my point? This is what is important for you to understand. The traditional BI tools, the old tools, were working in this fashion, and this is what was causing a lot of delay, a lot of pain for the user, and that's something that you want to go ahead and look at. Okay. So this is just for understanding purposes. We want to understand how Power BI is working and how is it all, doing things today. Because if you don't understand that, it's going to be very difficult for you to work on Power BI. Okay. Getting my point? That's what I wanted to go ahead and convey. So we are not going to just like that query just 1 day's data, 2 days data. No, that's not going to happen. We will have to go ahead and query a lot of data because let's say I want to understand the profit trend for the last 5 years. How has my company grown in terms of profit, in terms of revenue, in terms of sales, in terms of the quantities and the presence that we have? I need to go ahead and have all those data, and it cannot be just on a single day that I can go ahead and get all of this data. Yes. So you need to have that 5 years of data, and that is very much important. Okay. Everyone agrees. Everyone is in sync with what I'm saying. Yeah. If you have any questions, please post that in the chat box. Okay. Yes. Now, let's go ahead and understand two major disadvantages that we have with respect to this particular, traditional ways of working. All right. That's what we will do. And yeah, let's see. So one of the biggest disadvantages that I'm talking about here is nothing but delays during reporting. Yes or no? We just talked about it. You sent 5 years of data to be pulled in for Amazon. That's not going to be taking just a fraction of a second. It has to go and query, process the results, and then give you back the results, right? It's a simple diagram, and it's a simple concept that you just want to understand. Now, what happens with a lot of traditional tools is that, when I showed you the previous tool, the snapshot, it's going to be very difficult for you to go ahead and work with that particular environment. All right. So a dedicated developer is what is required. He has to be an experienced person. You need to go ahead and have an exposure to this particular tool, at least for some time, so that you can go ahead and work on it. Okay. Not anyone coming in as a fresher or anyone like top level executives. He wants to go and connect to the data. He wants to go and get a report out of it. No, it's not going to work. These are very difficult tools to work with. They need some configurations. They need some setup. They need to go and, have a reporting layer. They'll go and build that particular layer and so on and so forth. It takes a lot of time and also a dedicated developer to go and do all of that. Okay. Let's say tomorrow my logo of the company changes. I just want to change the logo in my report. And that has to go through a developer. The developer needs to have some time to go and work on it. He will go and change that. It goes to the testing team. It goes through the testing process. It then goes and gets into the production environment. So even for a simplest change like this, it's going to take a lot of time for anyone and, this change to happen and get into that production environment. So there are a lot of issues with this. Okay. So we'll see how these disadvantages are getting converted into advantages when we go into the modern ways of working. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go and talk about that in the next slide. Okay. Any questions until this point? Anyone has any questions? Please do let me know. All good so far? Yes. Okay. Anyone has any question? Do you want me to repeat this or is it all good? All right. I take that as no. So let's move on. Yeah, let's go on. Great. So have a look. Let's go to the next slide, and we are going to talk about a modern BI tool here. All right. What's a modern BI tool? We are going to talk about Power BI. Okay. That's going to be our modern BI tool, and let's see how this works. Okay. And for some reason, just give me 1 second. For some reason, this is all just coming up just like that. I just want to set this clearly. Just hold on. Um, just give me 1 minute, huh? Just 1 second. Okay, that just came as insert as a, okay, all right. Never mind. Let's just go into this. Okay. So this is what I want you to understand. Let's say, for example, we'll just consider this part. Okay. Let's go ahead and consider all this part section here. So we have Power BI desktop now. This is our modern BI tool. All right. And the way a modern BI tool works is that instead of going back to the database, let's say I want to pull the 5 years of data, instead of going back to the database and coming back with the results, and it's going to take a lot of time to go and process the results and give you the results. It's not going to do all of that. What it will do is it will just go and pull the data into itself. Okay. Power BI is going to just go and pull all the 5 years of data required for analysis. And what it's going to do is it is going to create a compressed versions of the file. Okay. Getting my point? So it will pull all the data that is required into itself, and it is going to create a compressed version of the file. All right. Now, what does this compressed version of the file do? It's just a copy of your database. Yes or no? It's just a copy of your database. Now that data is going to lie in your local machine. This compressed version of the file is going to lie in your local machine in RAM, random access memory. Okay. What is random access memory? That's the temporary memory that you have in your machine or maybe in your phones, right? So you'll have those temporary memories, and where an application can go and put the data and pull the data very quickly. So it's about, reading and writing from that particular memory that any application can do this very fast. And what Power BI is going to do is it's going to utilize the RAM in order to go ahead and work with this particular data set. Okay, you're getting my point? So the data is being pulled by the tool itself, Power BI, and Power BI is going to generate a local copy of the database. This concept is very important because I'll touch base on this forever whenever I work on Power BI. And you have to remember this also. That is the reason I'm just giving you this information. Okay, getting my point? So you have to understand that the modern BI tools are going to pull the data, let's say 5 years worth of data into the tool itself. And then it is going to go ahead and push or read and write from the compressed versions of the file that it creates. It goes and puts this file in the random access memory, the RAM, and then processes the result. Okay. Now, let's say, for example, you have a laptop. I have a laptop and it has about, let's say 8 GB of RAM. Okay, getting my point? 8 GB of RAM. This is what you're working with. Now, the 8 GB of RAM will be allocated for your, operating system. Let's say you have a lot of other application. I have Zoom opened. I have the PowerPoint open. I have files opened. So there are other applications that will go and use this as well. Okay, that will also use them. So we already don't have 8 GB of information or 8 GB of RAM available. Let's say we have 7 GB of RAM available. Okay, just for the sake of it. Okay. Now, let's say I'm just going ahead and providing 10 GB of information, and I'm pulling 10 GB of information from my database. And I'm telling you that there is a compression ratio. We are talking about compressed versions of the file, right? Let's say there is a compression ratio of 10:1. So if you're sending 10 GB of information, that can go and sit as 1 GB of information in your RAM. I'm just giving you this as an example. Okay, there is going to be a higher compression ratio. The tools are going to do much better, maybe 100 times, 1,000 times compression ratios are available. I don't know what's that with Power BI, but it just is going to be a good, nice compression ratio. I'm just giving you this as an example because you can understand this. Okay, so let's say I'm sending 10 GB of information. Yeah, the compression ratio is 10:1. So that goes and sits as 1 GB of information in your RAM. Okay, clear? Yes. So can you just go ahead and make 1 GB of RAM store in 7 GB of RAM? Yes. I mean, 1 GB of information in 7 GB of RAM. Yes, we can just go ahead and store that, and the tool can process it. Power BI can go ahead and process that result, right? Now, let's say, for example, you're just sending about 100 GB of information. Okay. Now, what happens? The same 10:1 ratio. And if you just go and take that 10 GB, what happens? Or 100 GB, what happens? It goes and sits as 10 GB here. Can you go and store 10 GB of information in your 7 GB RAM? The answer is no. I hope you're getting my point. Yes. So what we are doing here is we are working with a concept of in-memory concept. Okay, just hold on. Sorry for that. We are dealing with in-memory concept. We are talking about something called as in-memory concept here. And these tools, since they are using memory, these tools are called as in-memory tools. Yes, please. Any questions? Okay. In-memory tools. Okay. So we're talking about, and we are working with memory. So these tools are called as in-memory tools. So what they are doing is they are going and storing your data in the RAM. And if you have this information taken and sitting in the RAM, you have to go and store that properly, right? If it exceeds or if it overloads out of your RAM, then that is going to be very difficult, right? So you want to make sure that this is all working fine. And let's say this is just about 7 GB of RAM you have. You can't go and put even 10 GB inside that. You're getting my point? So your RAM, when it goes and gets filled up, that's when you'll see that there is slowness in your reporting environment. You'll see that Power BI is very slow. It's pretty much a heavy software because it is going to utilize a lot of RAM. It's going to utilize a lot of resources in your laptop. So it's going to do that thing. Okay. I want you to understand this concept and I want you to remember this concept forever because when I get into Power BI, this is going to be playing a vital role. It is going to be playing an important role. So I want you to just understand this part. Okay, everyone agrees with what I'm trying to convey? Yes, you're getting my point? This is very important. All right. So there is this concept that is going on and this thing that goes on. So the data is being pulled by the tool itself. It is going to create a compressed versions of the data set, a local copy of that data set, and this is going to be stored in the RAM memory, random access memory. That's the quickest way to go and give you the results or get you the results, right? That's what is happening. So if you have just about 7 or 8 GB of RAM, just giving a small number, or maybe a 16 GB of RAM, you can't go beyond that, right? We are not working on hi-fi servers. We are not going ahead and working on a Windows-based server or any server where we can have plenty of resources and we can stack the RAMs one after the other if the resources are getting used up. No, we can't really work with that. Okay, this is how we go ahead and work in our small environment given to us in a laptop, maybe on a server, something like that. And that's how we want to go ahead and remember this. Okay, clear? Yes. And the way I have this set up, look at this. This is a light arrow coming out. Yes. And the way I'm just setting this up is because once you go pull this information and create this compressed version of the file through the tool, there is going to be a, this link is going to be cut off and Power BI is only going to work with the compressed version of the file. It is going to read and write from that particular file. So I want you to understand that part. Okay. So that is what is happening and that is important for you to understand. So it is creating a copy of the database. It's going to use that particular copy of the database and this is how this is all going to work. Is that clear? Yes. So when the data is lying locally in your machine, how is the response? How is the response going to be? It's going to be very fast. It's going to read and write things very easily, very fast. And that's how powerful this concept becomes when it is storing the data and processing the data from the local machine. Okay. Any questions here? Anyone? What is the maximum size of data it can pull from the server? That doesn't really, it depends on how the data is all set up. Okay, you just want to imagine and you want to go and test and try the limit. All right. What I'm talking about here is I can't give you a right number, but let's say you have 5 columns. Okay. You have 5 columns and you can go and load billions of records. Okay. And if you have, let's say 200 columns, maybe just a few records. You're getting my point? So it's about the size of the data. It's about the number of columns that you have. It's about how much data and how much unique values do you have in that particular details that you can pull. And there is no right or wrong answer here. There is a high compression ratio that goes on behind the scene. Power BI has a very great or very huge data compression ratio, and we have no idea about those different numbers. It is just about testing and understanding the point wherein you can't load too much of data. Okay. So you may want to go and say, let's load 1 year's worth of data. Is the tool getting stuck? Is the tool getting hanged? If that's the case, you cannot go and load 1 year's of data. Okay. You just have to test and try that before you understand what's the limit, and you can just go slowly increase that limit and understand how you can perform that operation. So I would say there is no limit, but you just have to understand this conceptually, understand how this is all set up, and you should not be overloading your tables and overloading your data into the tool, because they are going to be working with the memory, and you should not be choking the memory. That's the whole concept that I want you to remember. Yeah. We can't do that. We can't check our compression ratios. I'll show you when we get into the Power BI ways of working. You'll see some temporary files getting created. You'll have no clue what is going behind the scene, what is happening behind the scene. It's just some sort of data files and some sort of a temporary files getting created. And that's why I say that it is going and storing things on your RAM, random access memory. Okay. So you will have no idea. You can't go ahead and, validate all of that. It just uses some other tools like SSAS as a backbone to generate and do all of this particular detail. So you have no clue about what's going on. Power BI just does that with some sort of uh, thing itself, and there is no way we can go and identify that. I've never seen the documentation from Microsoft. I have never seen these information anywhere else. But yes, if you can find it, let us know. But this is just a concept that I want you to understand. You don't have to get into this too much. Okay. It is going to have a very good compression ratio. Just understand that for sure. The 10:1 ratio that I gave you is all an example for you to understand, so that you're not choking the memory, you're not overloading the data, and kind of getting your workflow messed up. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? Any questions? Okay. Can I get a yes, no, if you are clear with all of this? Yes, on the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and talk to me. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. All right. If it's clear, if it is all good, let's go ahead and, move on to the next slide. What if the data from different sources, huge size, reporting, it will affect? Yeah, I mean, so when you're pulling the data from a variety of different data sources, all of the data put together is the size of the data. We want to understand whether that can fit into the RAM. Okay. So let's say, for example, you have data coming from a variety of different data sources. Okay. Let's say we have so many different data sources from where you're pulling the data. And this entire data put together will form the amount of data that you're taking into Power BI, right? So this is what is going to define whether it can fit into the RAM, and is it going to choke the RAM and all of that. So don't worry about variety of different data sources. That's the way we work. So you don't have to really, kind of again, uh, consider that as too many files or too much of a data. Everything put together as a whole, is it going to be something that it can fit into the RAM? And that's how you want to look at it. So look at it from an overall perspective, not from individual data sources perspective. And yes, again, if you're loading it from different sources where a lot of data is coming in, you may want to be careful here. Otherwise, it's not required. Okay. So yeah, I just want you to understand that part. All right. Okay, let's move on. If there is any question, yes, feel free to put that in the chat. All right, so let's talk about the advantages here. And what I'm talking about here is, since the data is lying locally in the machine, you have taken this data and it is lying locally on your RAM local machine. So the data is going to be available locally, and there is going to be a higher reporting time. Yes, it's going to be much faster than compared to the traditional BI tools. And that's what I want you to understand. Yes. And these tools are going to be so easy. These tools are going to be drag and drop report builders that anyone, your CEO, CFO of the company, can go and start creating this report. If I just tell them, and in the next 30 minutes or so, if I just tell them how to connect to the data, how to drag and drop and come up with some insights, they should be able to go and do that. Okay. So that's the whole point here. It's a very simple tool. It's a very easy tool to learn, but we will have to do as a developer, we'll have to go and do a lot of things when we go and work with this particular environment. So we'll just try to do that and we'll see how that works. Okay, clear? All right, let's move on. Let's go to the next slide and I'll show you how this works. Now I just have something called as a cloud server, Power BI service. Don't worry about that. This is coming up in the later stage. So once you're done with the report, you'll be publishing the report into your cloud-based environment. That's called as Power BI service. We'll get to that. We'll understand the architecture and other things, and we'll understand how this works. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on. All right. Now, question to you all. What do you think is business intelligence? We have been talking about BI for a lot of time. Yes, I talked about traditional BI. I talked about modern BI. What does the term BI really mean? It stands for business intelligence, okay. But what do you think and what do you make of this business intelligence? Can someone just comment or let me know?
In short, it is more of understanding the data and arriving at a business decision.
Very good. Okay, that completes the business intelligence definition. Very good. Okay. So anyone else? Anyone has any thoughts? Business analysis. Okay, good. What else? What else? Just feel free to just comment. I mean, it's nothing wrong. We'll go and understand what is the definition here. We'll see how that works. Generating meaningful output from raw data. Very good. That's the first part of this definition. We'll also talk about the second half. Okay, what else? What else? What do you think is BI? Collecting the requirements. Okay, that's again the first few stages, but we'll talk about the next half, second half. All right. Business analysis, generating meaningful output from raw data. I'm getting those things here. That's good. Collecting the requirements. Okay. What else? What else? Come on, guys. We have 27 participants here. I'm just getting a few responses. We just want to keep it interactive. Okay, let's just do that. What is business intelligence? What do you think? Yeah.
Simplifying the data and understanding very easy.
Okay. Okay. Accepted. And again, I will say that's the first half of the definition. We'll talk about the second half in a while. Yeah. Okay. Accepted. Data visualization. Yes. One of the ways you go and present your data. That's what is data visualization. And again, that's not a complete answer. We'll talk about the second half. A lot of you are missing the second half of the definition. Okay. Collecting the data from raw data and take steps for business growth. Okay. Okay. I'll put it as business decisions. Okay. So we want to go ahead and make the right decisions, and that's what we want to do. Yes, decision-making process. That's the second half of it.
Time.
Yes. Any question? Anything? Yes.
The reports are simple to understand and it saves time in the boardroom.
Okay. All right. Okay, good, good. That's a good response. Thank you for that. And let's go ahead and understand this. Okay, before I jump into the slides and before I show you the entire process, we want to understand a few things. Okay, let's say, for example, I have my data lying in different sources. Okay, these are all different data sources. Let's say, for example, I'm just going to denote that with DS, data sources. You pull all of this information, and what you do is you take it into Power BI and you start building a report, some sort of report, some sort of dashboard. Let's just say we just do this. Okay. So I'm just going ahead and preparing some reports there, and that's what we have come up with. All right. Now, the question is, you all said business analysis, collecting the requirements, data visualization, and all of that. Okay. Getting the insights out of the raw data. This is what we are doing. We are having all the raw data. Yes, any files, any databases, any data warehouses, wherever I can go and connect to, I've connected to that particular source. I'm pulling all that information because all of this is important for my analysis. And we have come up with a report, let's say a dashboard, a visualization, something that is easy for people to go and understand. Now, should I keep this report that I've built to myself? Should I just go and have this report kept within myself? I've created an amazing report, but I'm not giving this to anyone. Will that make sense? No. what we have to do is we have to go ahead and share it with our business users. You're getting my point? So these users are some important people in your organization. I'll call them as top level management folks. We can call them as decision makers. They are going to decide based on the input that you provide. They are going to decide what can be done for the growth of the business. Okay. We call this as informed business decisions. All right. So this is what we do. We are going ahead and collecting the data set. Yes. Bringing out the different insights out of it. And the main process, the main step is to go and share this report with our business users so that they can take informed decisions. Am I making sense? Yes. So as a developer, maybe you are a business analyst, you are a data analyst, you are just going in and building a report and you're showcasing that to your end users. Let's say I go and build a report for Amazon, and I'm just doing that for Amazon's data set. I want to talk to Jeff Bezos. I want to talk to the CEO of the company. I want to talk to any other top level executives who can make decisions out of this report. I'm sharing this report and he finds that, you know, um, we have a region. Let's say we have a region, and in this particular region, there is a very poor growth. Let's say I'm just looking at about 186K in negative profit. Now I want to understand why are things going wrong. I would go and dig deeper into that. And based on that, Jeff Bezos or those top level executives that I talked about, they are going to make some decisions. They are going to see how we can improve the performance of our sales and how is, why is profit going down? I want to understand all of that. Maybe there are a lot of returns. Maybe that's a natural calamity prone area, and there are a lot of lot of natural calamities happening. Maybe there is continuous rain. We are not able to transport the goods. We are transporting the goods, and every single time we transport it, it is all getting returned because it's not securely getting delivered. All of that can happen. I mean, I'm just giving you some random examples. Yes. So the decision making is the key. So I would say that there is one phase here. This is one phase where you go and collect all the data, you go and build that report, and you're not going to keep it with yourself. You'll have to share it with your users. You'll have to go and help them make informed decisions. That's what we want to go and do. And that's going to be the second half of your definition. And that's what I want you to understand. Is this clear? Yes. There are two parts to this, and we'll just talk about it in the next slide. All right. Yes. Great. Let's go to the next slide and we'll understand how this is going to work. All right. So here's the definition, and this is going to be the last slide that I'll work on. Okay. We'll just jump into the tool itself and we'll understand how to install the tool. We'll just work on the tool. That's what is coming up. But just go ahead and understand that this is the slide that you want to go through and understand how this is all working. Okay. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. I'm just looking at the chat window here. Okay, great. All right, before I go into the definition that I have here, okay, we'll go through the workflow just very quickly, and I'll tell you how this is going to work. All right. So in a simple term, this is what I'm trying to go and tell you. Let's go and break this into two different phases. This is all that you're going to do in order to build a report, in order to build a dashboard, in order to come up with the insights that is required for your users. Okay, we'll talk about that in a while. So this is the first half of the answers that I received. When you say data visualization, when you say collecting the requirements, when you say, getting the insights from the raw data, I'm just reading it from your comments here. Okay, decision-making process, that's going to be the second one. So we have another phase here that is going to be letting the users to make informed decisions. So I'm going to break this into two parts. So we have our data sources, yes, where you'll be going and pulling the data from. Let's say you go directly to this phase, you start building your reports, and you can't really keep that report with yourself. You'll have to go and share that with your business user, and they will go ahead and make that informed decision that I just talked about. Okay. So they are going to make sure that they will go and look at your report, and based on that, whatever insights they are getting, they should be going ahead and getting those insights and decisions should be made based on that. I hope you're getting this idea, right? So that's the whole point here. Let me go into the definition here. Look at this. BI or business intelligence is the process of transforming raw data. A lot of you were correct on that. Transforming the raw data into actionable insights. Yes. And you're just not going to stick there or stay there. You are going to do all of that by using data analysis, visualization, reporting. So whenever you said decision making, data visualization, reporting, and all of that, that is just first half of the statement here, right? And what is that going to help people do? It is going to support them in making informed business decision. That's the whole point. You can't really keep your reports, dashboards, and everything with you. You have to share it so that they can make informed decisions, right? That's the whole point. And you want to understand that part clearly. All right. I hope that definition is all clear. Let's go into the nitty-gritty details of this diagram and we'll understand what we have here. Okay. All right. So remember this and understand this for sure. Your data is not going to come from one big data source. Okay. Yes, there are, ways in which people have gone ahead and created some good, nice workflows. They have the data sitting in one single place, but it took a lot of time to go and build such systems, and not every organization has it. Okay. Let's say I work for Amazon. Again, I'm going to use Amazon for a lot of different examples, but we'll just try to understand it from that perspective. Now, let's say Amazon started off like 20 years ago. Okay. And when Amazon started off, we did not have cloud technologies concept. Amazon is one of the leading, providers of cloud technologies. That's a different thing. But we never had cloud technologies, right? So we can't go and store the data on the cloud. And, we were just working for some, let's say we were working on an Access DB. This was one of the famous databases that you can go and have. Excel files, CSV files. Let's say we were storing the data in this format, right? So I'm just talking about the transition of the company, and the company would not have had a great way to store the data. It may have stored the data in a CSV file. They were just trying to collect all the data, all the files, and then load it into some place and then go ahead and work with that. Okay. They may not have gone ahead and had a database even. Then probably gradually they understood, okay, managing and maintaining the files are not good. So they wanted to go to a database. I'm just giving you a rough and a very, very layman terms example here. Okay. And then they thought that, okay, databases are not enough. We want something bigger. And that's where we go for a data warehouse. A data warehouse is nothing but, you can collect all the historical snapshot of your data. You can load it in that particular data warehouse. And what you can also do is you can also load the transactional data that is going on a daily basis. So you have the historical set, and you are also going out and pushing on a daily basis the transactional data that is coming in. So that's again going to be a huge database. I just want you to understand from that perspective. Let's say it's a huge data base and not a simple database. Okay. With historical plus all the transactions that are happening on a daily basis, all of that is getting pushed into your data warehouse. That's what we have. All right. So this is what I want you to understand. Your data is never going to be in one single place. Let's say you want to bring the data from, 10, 15 years ago. Those are all lying in a legacy system, right? You want to pull all of that and you want to load it in one place and then work with that particular data. So what I'm trying to suggest here is the data can come from a variety of different data sources. You may have different files and different information sitting in different types of, files or databases. Let's say, for example, you have a good, nice database. You work for a top-notch company. They have a very good database, but someone is sending you a mapping file. Let's say this is all region and this is all the manager's name that you have. Okay, this is a mapping file. So that information is not there in your database. Okay, so what you do is you collect the data from the database for your visualization. You go and pull this information as well. And both of them put together, you want to build a report. You getting my point? Yes, that's how you have to do. And that is how things are going to work whenever you go into a data visualization tool or a BI tool, however you want to call it. That's how the life of a developer here is going to be. It's not going to be just that you have a nice, clean database. You'll connect to that. You'll pull all that information and you can go and start building your report with ease. No, there's going to be a lot of things that you do. Okay, one of the challenges that you'll have is collecting the data from a variety of different data sources. We call this, a lot of different data sources from where the data is coming from. We call this as heterogeneous source system. It's not a homogeneous source system. It's just not one, but it's a heterogeneous source system from where you're trying to pull all of these different details. Okay, that's the first block that I have here on my screen. Now, whenever you work with data, all right, whenever you work with data, you're going to follow a process for sure that's called as ETL. Okay, whether you go into the concepts of data warehouse, or whether you're just loading this into a simple database, or whether taking this into a visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, and whatnot, this is all going to follow and use a process called as ETL. Okay, ETL is the shorter form of extracting your data, transforming your data, and loading your data. Okay, so we will be performing an ETL in Power BI, and I'll segregate these sections and I'll tell you how Power BI fits certain sections and what Power BI can do, what Power BI cannot do. All of that will just differentiate and understand. But this is what an ETL is referred as. Okay, we'll get into the details, but just have a look. So whenever you work with the data, you are going to definitely follow a process called as ETL. Is that making sense? So we will go ahead and extract our data. We will go ahead and load our data into some place. We'll understand that. Or maybe we have just gone through this concept of compressed versions of the file. So you're just going to load that into RAM and then you're going to work with that. Okay. Or it can be also a data warehouse. All right. This is what I want you to understand. Okay. So extraction, it's clear. You're trying to pull the data. Loading, it's clear. You're trying to go push the data. Let's go ahead and talk about transformation. Any question before that? I see someone unmuting themselves. If you have any question, please do let me know. Okay, great. All right. So transformation, let's just go take an example like this. Let's say, for example, I am bringing in a population data. Okay, I'm working on some sort of a report. I'm bringing in a population data. And what we have is we have a column called as gender coming in. And the gender column is going to only have zeros and ones in that particular, column. Okay. Let's say you take the same details, you go and start visualizing your details. Let's say you are just coming up with a nice, good chart that talks about, zeros and ones count in this fashion. And you're sharing this with your end user. Yes. So what is the first question that you'll get from your business user? What are they going to ask you? They are going to come back. Yes. Any question, any answer? They're going to come back and they are saying, yes, they are going to ask you what is 0 and what is 1. Clear? Yes. So you can't go and take the data just like that into your system, into the data visualization tool, and you can't just go and perform this operation just like that, right? You need to go and clarify what is 0 and what is 1. And that's what happens in a transformation phase. You are transforming the data and you're just converting that into some meaningful information. Transformation can be anything, okay? Transformation can be about removing some unwanted columns, removing some unwanted rows. Let's say, for example, you get a file and the file always have some headers, okay? It is telling you where the file is coming from, on which date it was generated, blah, blah, blah. It can have some footers like count of the records, number of columns, blah, blah, blah. It can then have the data at the very center. You will be processing such files as well. You can process such files as well. You're getting my point? Now, what we are interested in is just this part of this information. We don't want to have the headers. We don't want to have the footers. We are only trying to go and take the data into Power BI and then start reporting based on that. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? Okay. So I hope you're getting my point, right? This is important for you to understand. All right. So you are taking the columns and then you want to go and say, let's say, for example, we have again the same example coming in, just do that. And instead of saying zeros and ones, let's say I say male and female here. Okay. And then you want to go and kind of put this information, showcase the count. And then that's what you're going ahead and showcasing that to the user. The user is able to go ahead and understand this better now. And that's what is all about transformation. Okay. So transformation is not just about converting this into a meaningful insight or meaningful value. That's one of the ways you go and convert your data and work with your data. But like I said, if you have heard of terms like data cleansing, people call us data massaging, yes. And then they also call us data shaping, data, I would say, and call that in different names. So anything that you do with your data before loading that into your destination system, that's going to be called as a transformation. Okay, I gave you an example of deleting the rows, deleting the unwanted columns. Let's say you have some column that you want to split. All right, there is an kind of we call that as delimiter. Yes, let's say there is a hyphen in between some columns. You want to split those values based on the hyphens. Yes, you can do that. Okay, so I'm just trying to tell you that any change that happens before loading the data into Power BI or into any place is what is called as transformation. All right, there are separate and powerful ETL tools out there. If you have heard of terms like SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services, this is one of the famous tools from Microsoft. Okay, Informatica is a ETL tool. If you have heard of that, that would be one of the greatest tools that you can work with. That's how we have some very dedicated tools to pull the data from the source and push the data into some place else. Okay, and you do a lot of transformations in between. That's how things work. All right. Let me pause for a while. Any questions so far? Anyone?
Raj, I do have a question.
Yes.
Right now, we do have data sources which are all heterogeneous, right?
Yeah.
So there could be millions of informations available. When we do the transformation,
Mm-hmm.
should we have to transform only certain data, or is it mandated to transform every data into the data warehouse? So, meaning, should I
Okay.
have to think through the visualization first in order to pull the required information and then make
Right.
the transformation happen, or should I have to just take all the data, do the transformation, and pick it up from the data warehouse?
Okay, so you'll just go ahead and work on something that you need to go ahead and showcase in your visualization side of things. Okay, you
Okay.
don't have to go ahead and work on every single column. You can't really go ahead and find out every single possible, meaning and conversion for that. Now, the whole idea here is what are you going to showcase?
Got
What
it.
are your users, interested in? Just go ahead and do the transformation for that. I would rather say transformation step in your, BI, Power BI tool is going to be more like shaping your data so that you make sure the data is going to be used better in the next phase of the process, which is going to be visualization. Okay. So if you
Got it.
can just shape the data and then take it forward, and in your visualization phase, if you're having no issues, like I said, those gaps and other things, zeros and ones won't make sense. Just that part is more than enough. You don't have to convert everything else. And you can
Got it.
ignore whatever you don't want, because there can be so many columns, so many rows, you can't really load all of them. So you just take only what is required, and you can always, yes, kind of slice and dice your data first, load it into Power BI. You can still do some lot of data cleansing and then go forward with that. So just take what you need for visualization. That's how I want you to see the data and load the
Got it.
data. Yeah,
Got it. Thank you.
no problem. Any other questions? Anyone?
In the ETL, a lot of transformations are there. In the similar manner, Power BI also transformations are there.
Power BI has a dedicated environment. We call that as Power Query Editor. And that has so many transformations that you can apply. Okay. And again, remember, this is not a full-fledged ETL tool. Okay. So don't expect too much from this tool, but it has enough for you to give you all the transformation that you need. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you. There is a dedicated environment where we'll be transforming the data. I'll show you that. Yes. Okay. Any other
Hi,
question?
is there any limitation of like you can only load this many rows or something like that in Power BI? I mean,
So
yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Complete your question if you have
Yeah,
any.
so I mean, if that is the case, then how do you handle that?
Okay. So we work with two different scenarios. Okay. Let's just go and talk about two different scenarios. Now, whatever I spoke about, and if you have just, understood the in-memory concept that we talked about. So we have, let's say, our data set. We are pulling that information into Power BI file. And the Power BI file is going to create that compressed versions of the file that I showed you. Now we call this process as importing the data. Oops, just give me a minute. We call this process as importing the data. All right. So you are taking the data into Power BI and you're just allowing the tool to create that compressed versions of the file. Okay, that's what we are doing. So this process is what is called as, and I just have some issues with my keyboard. Just give me a minute. We call that as import connection. So what you're essentially doing is you're taking the data into the tool and you're just bringing the data and creating that local copies of the data set. So this is called as import. Okay. Now we also have another concept called as direct connection, or we can call this as a live connection to your data set. So when you're taking the data into Power BI and it is connecting live to your data set, we have limitations here. Okay. Import depends on what data you can bring in, how much memory you have, or maybe later point in time, you're just saving this as a file in your local disk. So it all depends on how much size you can go and store inside your disk. And that's the whole point of importing your data. So it all depends on the amount of data that you can store and handle in your machine, right? But a live connection will have some issues because I can't go look like 5 years of data. And let's say when I say live connection, any changes happening here in my data set should immediately reflect in my reporting environment, right? So I can't go and look for like 5, 10, 20 years of data. So there we will have a limitation, and the limitation is about 1 million rows here. That's what you can go and look up, and import connection will not have any restriction. So I would suggest that whenever you're importing the data, understand the limitation with respect to the size of data and how much space you have in the memory or on the disk for this particular tool to go and save that and work with that. For a live connection, it also, really depends on the number of rows that you bring in. So we can only bring in 1 million rows, not more than that. And we'll talk more about this as we progress through our course. I'll touch base on the live connection and what are the issues and disadvantages that you get with your live connection. I'll just go do all of that. And that's what I'm trying to go and convey here. This is how you want to look at. We'll talk more about this sometime later. But that's the general idea I want you to have. Okay?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay. When we are deleting the rows and columns in Power BI, is it deleting the main source of data? No. So remember, the reporting tool just work in this fashion. Okay. So the reporting tools would go ahead and work in a fashion like this. You have the data source. Yes. And I told you, right? We just are going to work with a local copy of the data set. So we are going to pull this into Power BI and we will just create that compressed version of the file. Yes. So what I told you is after this file is getting created, this connection is cut off. So we are only working with a local copy of the file. So whenever you do some changes, deleting things, adding some details here, all of that is not going to affect the source. That's how I want you to understand this. Okay. Uh, Again, one more point I want you to just make sure is the tools, reporting tools are meant to be a read-only tool. Okay, it is not going to be a tool that you can write back into the database. All right, that's not going to affect your data source. It is not a tool meant to write back things into your database. That's something that I want you to understand. And you can do that. You can do that with some workaround. You'll see a lot of YouTube videos where people want that kind of a thing going on. So you can still do that. What I'm trying to tell you here is the tools are not by default meant to write back or change the data source, but they can be modified in order to do that. Okay. So you'll have to write some lines of code, and we don't prefer writing lines of code. Yes, we want it to be simple. We want it to be easy. You can still do that. That's the answer. But you want to do that in a kind of a workaround fashion and not just straightforward fashion. Okay. So this is what I want you to understand. The tools are never going to change the source. It's only going to be a read-only file or read-only data that you get. And then based on that, you can just go and work with that. And any changes that is happening, any deletion, addition, and removal of columns and all of that, it's going to be local and not on the data source. They'll provide mapping sheet. Yes, whenever you get some requirements, they will provide you, things can happen in a couple of different ways. So let me just give you two scenarios here. And if you are working in a very good company, okay, let's say top MNCs in the world, and if you have a very good, nice teams to do all of the things. So let's say, for example, there will be one team doing all the ETL stuff. There will be team loading all of that into data warehouse. So that's something that you can go and reach out to. Then there will be a dedicated team for, visualization and data visualizations and all of that. Now, what I'm trying to tell you here is every team will be available, and you should be able to go and understand what is the requirement, what is the data set, where is it lying, and also people will give you the charts and graphs that they need to go and build certain reports. That can also be done. So requirement documents will have all the information, all the details, the files and the tables and the details associated with it to build your visualization. They'll even sometimes give you a sample, you know page, which will have, there will be a dedicated, we call them as UI UX developers. Yes, they will go and prepare the report for you, and they'll also give you those, if the way they want the report. Okay, that's how nice big companies do, and they work in that fashion. So you'll get everything, and you don't have to think a lot. You just have to drag and drop those things, build things in your visualizations tool, and then send it back to your users. Otherwise, there are also cases, and I've just worked with some, a lot of startups, a lot of basic, you know, uh, mid-level companies where you have to do everything. You have to understand where is the data source. You have to understand how to do the ETL. You have to understand what visualizations to use and how to bring the data in best possible way in a visual format. All of that you have to do. And that's again going to be a way you work. So it's going to be, yes and no for that particular question. Yes, you will have those mapping sheet requirements and other things brought in, but you can also have an environment wherein you have to do everything, and you probably will be preparing a lot of data, a lot of other things, and you want to go through a lot of process. Okay, so that's how things work. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone? Please do let me know. Just give me a minute. Let me go back. Okay. Well, let me just present that one more time. And I'm just finding it difficult to find my mouse pointer. Yeah. Okay, great. Any questions?
Sir, I have one question. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me. Yes, please.
Actually, you said that SSRS and Power BI and the reporting tools is there, right? So why are you choosing for Power BI?
Yeah, very good. I mean, it is up to you. Why should we go and use Power BI? And it is up to the company and the organization to decide based on various factors. They'll go and understand, what this tool is capable of. Capability of the tool is one. Costing is again going to be one of the important factors that goes and affects how an organization is procuring and getting those products. Yes, that's again going to be one of the important factors. So let me just talk about a few things here. Let's just go talk about, uh, you know, let's just do this way. I'm just going to do this for Tableau and Power BI. Okay, let's say we have two tools. There is Tableau and there is Power BI. Okay, now Tableau is very good with data visualization. Okay, it's a very powerful tool. It has a great capability of bringing the data in any visual format. Okay, it's like a canvas given to the artist. Let's say, for example, you give them a blank canvas, you give artist a blank canvas, and they can just go paint whatever they want. Okay, and that's how beautiful and how powerful the Tableau tool is with respect to data visualization. Now, Power BI can create amazing visualizations. It has all those visualizations, but not enough to bring out everything that Tableau can do. So I would just say it just loses like about half a mark, okay, there. And what I'm trying to tell you here is this is again having a great data visualization capability, but the problem with this is we use a lot of templates, okay? Have you ever created an Excel sheet, chart or a graph? You go to insert, you say, I want a column chart, I want a pie chart. That's a template that you use. Okay. But whereas in Tableau, you'll just go and bring those out by dragging and dropping the fields, and you'll be building that yourself. And you can choose whether you want a pie chart, you want a tree map, whatever that is, you can just go and build that. So that's the kind of an advantage that we have. So this gets that one full mark, but here we just lose a few marks because it's more like a template. Okay. Now comes the main part. How are you handling the data? All right. So if you talk about Power BI, Power BI has a great ETL capabilities. We have that here, and Power BI can do amazing things there. Okay. But whereas Tableau is not that good, I'll say not even closer to what Power BI can do, not even an inch closer to what Power BI can do. So Tableau does not have too much of an ETL capabilities. The tool itself, Tableau desktop tool itself cannot do too much of an ETL stuff. So they came out with a different tool called as Tableau Prep, I believe. Yes, yeah, that was there in the market for some time. So that itself, again, since it is a dedicated tool for ETL, it still can't do a lot of things. Okay. So I would say Tableau is lacking a lot of ETL capability. So that degrades the tool. And I'll show you in one of the slides. Let me show you that after I finish this explanation, that's what has pushed Tableau and other tools behind, because Power BI has a lot of ETL capabilities. So when I say ETL capabilities, and also it is about the way the data is getting handled. So I would say it does an amazing job with that. Okay. So that's what I want you to understand. So ETL capabilities is one of them. Handling the data is again something. So people are going with all of this because Power BI can do it better than Tableau. Okay. If you look at the cost, the initial cost for Tableau is very high. Okay. The licensing cost for Tableau is very high, but you can get this in a very cheaper price for Power BI, and that's how things are working. Power BI is getting integrated into Office 365 environment, and that's pretty much every organization uses. Office 365 environment is what people are, using, and you have that Excel, Power BI, what is that, PowerPoint, and documents coming in, all of that coming in as a suite of products, and that Power BI tool is just getting added as a free integration to that, and you're just using that across organizations. So that's the reason Power BI is famous. Cost definitely matters, and all of these features also matter. And hence, I'm trying to tell you that Power BI is much better, much easier, and much powerful than your Tableau tool. And Power BI has a great demand. Okay. I probably can show you that, and I'll just kind of give you the chart and other graphs later. But Power BI has grown with respect to its demand and the way people are, we have a lot of job openings for that. That's again a matter in which people are switching towards Power BI, learning Power BI, getting into that. So those are the different factors that we have. But Tableau is an equally powerful tool. It's a competitor to Microsoft and Power BI tool. But I would say it still lacks a lot of details. I work personally with Tableau and Power BI a lot. Okay, I do this consulting and other things for a lot of organization, but this is something that I wanted to showcase. It is not that good with ETL Tableau, but this just goes and gets all the score with respect to ETL. Okay, I'm just giving you a glimpse of it. I hope you're getting this idea, right? Any questions, anyone?
So one question, Ambarish, in between the data warehousing and then the visualization, should I have to again compress the data, keep it in my local and show it from there, or can I directly access the information from data warehouse?
Okay, so there are two ways in which things work. So what you can do is let's get rid of data warehouse from the picture here.
Okay.
So you can go and take the data source directly, do all the ETL stuff. You can go to the visualization phase and then share that report with your user. Okay. That's one way of doing it. When you're doing it, this is where your, in-memory tool, the compression file and all of that comes into picture. Now, what people should have done for you is they have already created everything until this point, right? They have loaded things into data warehouse. So yes, you can directly go and pull the data from the data warehouse and you can start, building your reports and then share that with your user. So two ways of working. One, you can just understand your source systems, do a ETL, and then go directly from there. And you can just skip this part because that's where your compression files and other things come into picture. Or if this is already done for you, if everything is loaded into a place and you can just connect to that directly and load it from there. That's how things go. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? I see a question. Let me just read that. From where we get data sources, sir? I mean, who gives us the CSV file, PDF, SQL, MySQL? Okay. So the data sources is nothing but you'll have to identify where the organization is storing it. You will get to know this when you get the requirements. Okay. You may be going ahead and working in an organization. You should be, kind of working in a team. So this team or you as a developer, you'll be getting the requirements, and the requirement documents will specify, okay, here's the database. Your team members can help you understand, okay, which data can come from what particular source. Okay. The data need not be stored everywhere. Okay. The data need not be stored in everywhere. But yes, there is a case like, just I gave you an example. Let's say there is a database in which you have the data getting stored, and you'll get a file where the mapping file will come from, and you need to go and integrate all of that and bring that into Power BI. Okay, that's just an example. So you can just have a fewer data sources, but you have to identify, and probably your client or your customer is going to give you the details, and that's how things can proceed. Okay, I hope that's clear. Yeah. So in your requirement documents, it will be specified how to connect to those data sets and where is this data lying. Otherwise, figure it out based on your team and other interaction with your clients, how to pull the data from what all sources. That's what would be the answer to that. Okay. What else? I'm just going to see. Is this all clear? Yes, everyone? All right. Now let's just go to the next phase here. Now, why do I have data warehouse in the picture, right? So we talked about ETL process. That's good. The ETL process is going to be used, like I said, whenever you work with data. All right. Now, the data warehouse is in the picture here because I'll be talking about a lot of terms, a lot of things, and that becomes the foundation for your tool. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll talk about a few things like I'll talk about dimensions. I'll talk about measures. I'll talk about data modeling. Okay. This is in turn or otherwise called as dimensional modeling. Okay. I'm just going to say that dimension modeling. Okay. So there are going to be a lot of terms coming from your data warehouse. And what happens is these terms and these terminologies becomes the foundational aspects of working with your data. Okay. You need to understand what is a dimension. You need to understand what's a measure. You need to understand how to do a data model or dimension model. And if you're connecting from a data warehouse, it's going to be a dimension model that is going to come into your file. If you're connecting to a database, let's say you have a HR database, you have employee table, you have department table, all of that needs to be connected together to go and work together and bring the data together in your visualization tool. So we will be building the data model. So let's go ahead and understand how this works. Okay. Now that is what we will go through. And once you have all of that concept understood, we will go ahead and visualize our data, and we'll go ahead and do share it with our users and do all of that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me just take a pause here. We'll just wrap our session with this information. We'll just go take a minute or so to understand how to install the Power BI file, and I'll tell you Power BI desktop version, and I'll tell you what are the next steps and next things that are coming up in the next session. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just come out of the slides. We are just done with the slides. I want you to understand this process and install the Power BI file before you come to the next session. We'll just right away jump into the tool and we'll work with that. Okay. So I hope you're on a Windows 10, Windows 11 machine, or maybe Windows 8. Okay. These are the supported operating system for you to work with your Power BI file. All right. I want you to go to the Microsoft Store here. It's available on your machine for sure. Yes. And you can only install this for a Windows machine. For any other Mac-based system, if you're using Mac, just try to have some other softwares like Parallels, that can run Windows. You need to have a Windows machine to install the software. Okay. So go to Microsoft Store on your machine, search for Power BI Desktop. That's what I would say. And you'll see something called as Power BI Desktop here. Can you see that? I want you to install it. Okay. This blue button will say get it now or install or something like that. I want you to install this particular software. Okay. Do not install anything else. There is something called report builder, blah, blah, blah. Don't get that installed. Okay. I want you to go ahead and install only Power BI Desktop. So just look for Power BI Desktop, install that and get it ready. The reason I'm asking you to do this from Microsoft Store is because this Microsoft Store will take care of any future updates. So we are going to have updates coming from Microsoft every single month. Every month, every 1 month, they'll go and add 15 to 20 features at least. Okay. So all of that will be added and updated to your software automatically if you do this using Microsoft Store as an option. And that's going to be easier for you to go and work with. Okay. So get into Microsoft Store, click on that blue button, or just say get it now or something like that. See this kind of a button, and then just go and install it. That's what we want to do. All right, clear? Now, I'll give you one more way of installing this software. Yes, any question? I see someone.
Yeah, actually, when you said that when we download it from the Microsoft Store, it
Mhm.
automatically takes care of the future upgrades as well, right?
Right.
So, what if a person is going to create a
ఏంటి
dashboard in the
పాస్లో
latest
పెట్టేశారు
version?
Yeah,
What if the person is going to create the
Hmm.
dashboard in the latest version, and if the other person is going to open that dashboard in the oldest version, if his system is going to have the oldest version, so will be affecting the dashboard, right? Like,
yeah.
so in that
So
case, they need to downgrade the dashboard, I mean, version, and then do it. Like how do they do it?
No, see, I would suggest most of the users should use this method, and yeah, their desktop should remain on a same version. If it is like one or two versions below, that's fine. Power BI has enough features to accommodate that. I've never seen such errors coming up, downgrading or upgrading kind of an error. So I've never seen that. And the best method would be to go and use this Microsoft Store. And if everyone is installing through this method, they'll be on a same version, and there should not be an issue. But if they are doing it with another method that I'm going to give you, I'll just show you how this goes. So if I just go, let's do this. Okay. Let me try this. Yeah, this is the link that I'm going to give you. So if someone is just going on and installing it using this, then still the tool is going to be upgrading itself automatically. Otherwise, you can just look for the latest version and try upgrading it manually. But it's not going to give you too much of an error. So I've never seen that happen with Power BI. Okay, I've seen that with other versions of the software and other tools, but not with Power BI. If you are still on a lower version, too many lower versions, yes, some of the features implemented by someone on a desktop is not going to be working, but it will just suggest you that you may go and upgrade the software, and there should be the details available. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
It should be
Okay.
taken care
And
of.
the Power BI server is also going to get simultaneously updated. Like, I mean,
Yeah, the server gets Power BI service. There is something called Power BI service that's going to be updated every quarter, every 3 months. It gets a update, and it is also going to be upgraded in a lot of features with a lot of features and things like that. And yeah, that happens for every quarter. And Power BI Desktop will get features for every single you know month. Yes.
okay. Yep. Thank you.
All right. So I'm just going to paste this link here on the chat box. I want you to go ahead and click on it. This link is only required. Let's say if you are interested in going ahead and installing the software with a different language altogether. Let's say you're into this, Chinese firm, and they use Chinese as one of the languages. Yes, you can download that in a Chinese language, or someone uses Spanish or French, something like that. German, they want to go ahead and install it in a very specific language. That's the whole point of going through this website and doing it. But I would suggest doing things from Microsoft Store. Don't install it from anywhere else. This takes care of your updates. That's what I'm telling you. And the software is going to be installed in English language by default. So if you're not looking for that, I would like you to go to this official website and download the favorite language that you want to go through and download and install that particular detail. Okay. Now I want you to go to the system requirements before you install it. I hope you are on one of these systems, right? We are not supporting Windows 7 or anything of that sort, Windows XP. So this is all for the latest Windows and any server version that you have. And you will find like 32-bit version and 64-bit version here. And based on your software, yes, just go ahead and install. Based on your OS, just go ahead and install the software properly. Okay. All right. Any questions before we wrap up? I have a few things to discuss, and I'll just discuss that. Let's see.
So how many days? I mean, is this a free class or is this a payment? I mean, we need to
Yeah,
pay for it.
so this is a free session for you. This is the first session that we are having. The first 3 sessions is going to be free. and that is going to let you decide whether you want to enroll for this course or not. This is a paid course, and I want you to go to Raj Technologies, rajinformatica.com, and I'll just ping you this link here. Okay, so you can go to the link that I'm just sharing. You can go to courses, Power BI training. I think I'm just giving you the Power BI page itself, and you can just go through this particular website. This is going to have all the details for you, the course content and other details, and what are you going to learn, and all of these details. You can just go through that, and you'll also have a couple of sessions. I'll be going ahead and taking a couple of sessions, and this is how it's going to be. The course fee is going to be 15,000 INR, and that's what is the course fee. We have started our batch today. This is our first session. The first 3 sessions are going to be completely free. You can get an idea of how the class is coming up, how the knowledge is being transferred. You can decide based on that, and you can start enrolling into these different batches. Okay, so you should be able to go do that. And yeah, this is a paid course. It's not a free course. The first 3 sessions are free for you to decide how this is going to be going forward. Okay.
I have one concern. So
Yes.
how many days it will complete, like a course completion date?
The total course duration is going to be about 40 to 45 hours. Okay. That includes my lecture. That includes the assignments. That includes a couple of projects that you'll go and do. So there are going to be dedicated times for all of this. 30 to 35 hours of lectures, assignments, all of that included. Okay. And then you'll also work on a hands-on. So I would say somewhere between 40 to 45 hours of the course duration, and we'll just go. It is just going to be like on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 3 days in a week. And we have 2 slots. Okay, we have the 8 a.m. batch in the morning IST, and we also do this. The same thing will be covered in the evening batch as well, 8:30 p.m. That's what we will go and do. So if you can just enroll for one of these batches or timings, that would be great. And like I said, it's going to be 45 hours. So almost like it will span across 2 months for you to go and complete this course. Yeah. Weekly 3 days. Yes, it's going to be weekly 3 days, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Okay. Yeah. As of now, we don't have a weekend batch, but we are, let's see if there is a need for that. We'll just go and set it up as well. Or I'm not sure. Yeah. Any questions?
Will this recording be provided in the WhatsApp group or like?
Yes, I'll let the coordinator know, and we will provide that recording to you. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have one concern. So after completion of all courses, so do you have provide all access for the total
So
courses?
yes, the course materials, the recordings of these sessions, the hands-on, the assignments, and whatever documents we are sharing and
How
everything.
many days? How many days? Like 1 month or 4 months
No,
or 5 months or 1
no,
year,
it's going to be
6
for
months?
your lifetime. It's not going to be taken off at all. So you will get the lifetime access to that. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, total course or total classes.
Total classes, I would say somewhere roughly, I'm not sure, 25, 30 classes will be there. Yeah, that's how I would say.
Out of 25 to 30 classes, so how
Yes.
many will be accessible for unlimited, like
Yeah,
lifetime?
there is no deadline for that. Okay, you can use it forever and you can access it forever. So yeah, for your entire lifetime. Yes. Okay, I have some questions here. Who can learn this course? I would say you can be a business analyst or a data analyst. It would be a good choice if you want to learn this course that way. Okay, and this course is designed by me, and I've been taking courses for or training people for more than 7, 8 years now. I have total of 15 years plus experience, and I've been working on data warehouse and other technologies like Microsoft Power BI, Tableau, ClickView, ClickSense. All of these tools are data visualization tools, and it actually goes with the concept of data warehouse. Okay, so anyone who is a business analyst, anyone who is a data analyst who's seeking to be all of this, and also anyone who wants to go and change their career from any non-technical background to the technical side like this, yes, they can go ahead and get this course. It's going to be very easy for you to learn Power BI. You don't have to have any technical knowledge. Even a non-IT person can go and enroll for this. I've had people from electrical departments, mechanical department, HR department going ahead and, getting themselves enrolled into this. Every single department today in an organization is using all of this. Okay. So there is no coding required in Power BI. It's all a drag and drop feature. So what I'm trying to tell you here is it's a simple tool, simpler than Excel, if you can just go and think and understand from that perspective. It's just a drag and drop builder. We have something called DAX. Okay. So again, you don't have to be scared of DAX. This is just going to be a formula language in Power BI. It's just a formula language. So if you have written a simple formula in Excel, saying that sum of A1 till A4, something like that. This is pretty much the same thing that you do with Power BI as well. So we'll be working with formulas, and that's the DAX side of things. And that's where we'll type something. Otherwise, it's all drag and drop, and it's all about the features and functionalities that you have to go and know. Okay. If there is a career gap, what should you do? Yes, please. Yeah. And questions?
Yeah. So I'm already working on Oracle Fusion Financials. Will learning Power BI help me in, getting any advantage or in my career?
Yeah, see, I would say if you're just trying to switch your career slightly and want to get into Power BI or any of such technologies, yes, that should definitely help. And having any technical knowledge, having the idea about and working experience with respect to similar technologies would certainly go and help you, and definitely go and help you out with those career aspects of things. And you can also put this in your resume. It's going to be a great add and addition to your resume. And if you're really looking for this, I would suggest yes, you can go and take that up. But otherwise, it's also going to be an added advantage for you. So I would say, yes, you can take that course for sure. Yeah.
No, I'm not looking for any career change, just that I want to add more skills. So I thought, just to know the technical side of things like SQL and Power BI. So just want to learn. Will that anyway help in this thing?
Yes, I mean, see, this tool, if you learn this tool, what you can do is you can quickly connect, and if you want to build a presentation and if you want to come up with some insights for your teams and team meetings, this tool is going to be very easy, very simple to go and put those things together. And if you really want to come up with an interactive visual and charts and graphs, I'm just going to open a report so that you understand this point. It's going to be really easy and handy for that. So that's what I'm telling you. When I include BA, business analyst, for this particular, thing, what I'm trying to tell you here is business analyst would just go and work on, gathering the requirement, getting that to the technical team, and then making it, making them develop the solution and all of that. But if a BA can go and have such small tools in their pockets, what they can do is they can build these reports and showcase the insights very quickly. Okay, when I said HR team is going on and building all of this themselves, so they are non-technical folks and they are building it. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, yes, this is going to help you a lot in coming up with those different details. And it's definitely going to help you in putting together some information and showcasing that, presenting that, and impressing your clients and bosses. So yes, if you want to add this as some additional tools and technologies, you want to have it in your as a feather in your cap, yes, you can do that. And this is going to be very easy and a useful tool for you. Okay. Yeah. Any questions otherwise?
Well, this course also covers the first part of the discussion that we had. There are two parts, right? One is the visualization business users.
Correct. Yeah.
On the other side, we were talking about the ETL transformations and how you load the data into data warehousing. Will that also be, which is data processing or data massaging? Will that also be covered as part of your course, sir?
So we'll cover this from a Power BI's perspective. Okay. We will cover this from the tools perspective. So as a developer, what should you do in order to work with Power BI? That's the whole objective here. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you here is this tool will go ahead and have the ETL capabilities. This tool is where we are going to bring up this report. So have a look at this report. We have just created this in one of our other sessions. This is also going to come to you as a project. So if you click on something, these things is going to interact and give you the results automatically. So that's how interactive and how fast the report just goes and works. So we'll be building something like this. Now we are not going to load things into data warehouse. We will load it into Power BI and work with that. Okay. So yeah, so the ETL concept is going to be associated with what we do in Power BI. That's the whole objective. And yes, we will go ahead and share this to the cloud-based environment, put it in the cloud-based environment, share and collaborate with a lot of people. So that's the overall objective. So anything from a Power BI developer's perspective, yes, I'll cover that. But ETL stuff and data warehouse, those are all separate things. We'll not cover that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. There is one more question. Can freshers learn this course? Yeah, I would say yes, definitely. Like I said, there is a huge demand for Power BI developers. There are a lot of job openings coming up, and freshers, mastering some skills like SQL, Power BI and Excel. That's more than enough for you to get into a job. The added advantage would be to have Python or R learned as well. People are looking for that, but that's not mandatory. Okay. So SQL knowledge is must. Excel is must, some working experience or knowledge with Excel. Power BI is a simple tool. If you know Excel, you can pretty much work on Power BI as well. So SQL, you'll have to eventually go and learn for sure. So I would say go and work on that and try to add these three at least to your resume. That should be good enough. And yes, you can learn and get into this particular course in no time. Or sorry, the career in no time. Yeah. Yes, I've answered that. Who can take this course? Any business intelligence and anyone who is going to be, looking for a small or a slight career shift, or any freshers, anyone who wants to just get into this line, or if they are learning for some of their, knowledge purposes, that is also pretty much a valid reason. So you can just go and enroll for this course. It's an interesting, tool. Just go ahead and have some patience, enroll for the next 2 or 3 sessions. We'll just go and intimate all of you. You can put your WhatsApp numbers and your details on the chat. I'll just have my coordinator look into that, and we'll just go and connect back with you. So just try to provide all those details. You'll get value out of this course, and it definitely has a great opening out there in the market. There is a huge market for Power BI. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So you'll just go and get placed very easily. All right.
What if a person wants to shift his career, and how can he show the experience to the company which he got selected? So, for example, if he has like 5 years experience previously into a different organization, into different role, so he wants to shift his career into be a Power BI. So how can he show his experience?
Yeah, so I mean, I would suggest we will take it offline. So just reach out to our coordinators and they will help you, get to me. So just try contacting people here. I'll tell you, and I'll give you this as a personal opinion. I'll not do this because the session is being recorded. So just get in touch with me or with the coordinators and ask for Power BI developer or the Power BI instructor. I'm sorry. Okay. And they'll reach out to me. So we'll discuss this offline. We don't want to have this conversation on a recorded forum. Okay. So yeah, I'll give you the answer, but just reach out to me using these numbers. Okay. Yeah. You may want to go ahead and showcase that kind of an experience. You may want to, in simple terms, if I were to answer that, you need to showcase your expertise in the interview. That's it. Okay. Yes, your resume is going to talk about Power BI. You have to perform in the interview. And if you can just perform in the interview, if they see that you have enough knowledge and good knowledge in Power BI, that should be more than enough. Okay. Yeah. After the completion of course, how much time it will get placed. So it depends on how you are performing in the interview. Okay. So once the course is complete, if you have gone through this course, I would say allow at least 1 or 2 weeks. I mean, you should be good enough at the end of the course, but allow 1 or 2 weeks for a good, nice practice. I want you to prepare for the interview well. And it all depends on how you're performing in the interview. Okay. There are going to be basic knowledge, and we will be sharing all the different, possible questions, the mock interviews and other things. We'll just try to go and understand and conduct. And based on that, we will understand how you can perform in the interview. That should give you a good, nice foundation, and you can perform in the interview and get that cleared. So I would say within a month or so, you should be able to land on a job. And that is all based on how you have prepared and how you have actually, performed in the interview. So those are the two aspects that I want you to look at. If you're good with that, yes, you can land on a job less than a month, in less than a month, and that's what would be the, guarantee I give you. Okay. I've had my students, they got cleared the certification. There is a Microsoft certification. They cleared that certification after a week of completing this course. And also they have also got placed within 2 weeks of completing this course. So I've had those experiences, and I can share all that here as well. But that depends on how you have kind of prepared for yourself and the interview. Okay. I already took
Is
Informatica course. Yeah, just one
I have
question.
one
Yes,
one
yes.
question. I can confirm. Like it is useful for PL 300 certification.
PL 300 is what I'm talking about. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So this course is aligned based on that. Okay. I've prepared this course based on that. So you can just learn this course and you can very well take the PL 300 exam. All right. And that's how I would call it. Okay. I've taken the exams personally. I've cleared it. And I'm just setting this expectation and also the course curriculum based on that. So once you complete this course, yes, you should be able to go and take the course directly, the PL 300 certification directly, and then clear it. Yes. Okay, I'm just taking this question. I already took Informatica course. So is there any advantage to take Power BI for me? See, Informatica is an ETL tool. And I've been talking about this in the other demos as well. If you have gone through that, I'm not sure. ETL plus the Power BI tool is a deadly combination. Okay, that's a different tool altogether. But a lot of knowledge, if you can bring from that ETL concept, that's going to be the foundation of this particular tool. Okay, and you just build on top of that. So it's going to be very, very powerful if and easy to go and learn. If you already have that knowledge, it's going to be easy to grasp and kind of understand how this tool works. So yes, if you are bringing that knowledge from any other ETL tool, Informatica, SSIS, or what other tools, whatever you have in the market right now, those are the concepts that we need for understanding and working with Power BI. It's going to be super simple if you just compare it with Informatica. So I would suggest, yes, go ahead and take this course. So that would be a great advantage. All right. What else? Any other questions, anyone? Okay. All right. If there are no questions, I think we can wrap up. It's already like half an hour past our end time. I'm sorry for that delay, but I hope you got something out of this particular first session. We will go ahead and talk about Power BI from the next session onwards, Monday onwards. And like I said, the first 3 sessions or first few sessions are going to be free for you. Attend these sessions, get an idea about how this is all happening. Okay, how easy it is to go and work on Power BI. How is the teaching from my side? How are we trying to convey our knowledge and share our knowledge? Just try to analyze those things. If you've already enrolled, that's a great choice. If you have not done that, and if you're still confused, reach out to these numbers on the screen here. And you can also go and ask for Power BI's instructor, and I'll just be there on the call for you to clarify any questions that you have. Okay. So we'll take some questions personally as well. I mean, take it offline, not on the recorded forum. So yeah, let's do that. And for anything, yes, reach out to us and let us know. Okay, look at this. We have talking about lifetime access to the videos and all of that. So just go ahead and go through this page and get to know what you have. If you have any concerns, any queries, please do reach out to us. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll connect back on Monday, the same time. Otherwise, there is a session happening 8:30 p.m. today, Indian time. So you can also, kind of get into that. But that's the same session. I'm just going to take the same topic. So let's connect back on Monday with a fresh new topic and how to work on Power BI. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good night. We'll just connect on Monday. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have some questions, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I just want to know if it's possible also to learn ETL
Yes,
tools
you can learn.
like SSIS or Informatica because I have never used an ETL properly.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to learn ETL course, there are courses here. So we can go ahead and look for Power Center, Informatica Power Center. We also have Informatica Cloud, IICS. And
Okay.
I mean, reach out to these numbers and ask our, coordinators on certain things, and they can guide you better. Okay. But yes, we offer the ETL course, and Informatica is one of the best courses in our platform here. So you can go ahead and enroll
Okay.
for that. Yeah, just look out for those details and reach out to these folks. They'll help you and guide you with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I need some ETL courses. I need these courses, and also, as I say, you have also Azure Data Engineer courses.
Right. Yep.
And I have minimum 3 courses you have, and I like them. And Oracle courses, DBA.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
That is the reason I'm saying maybe it's better to have a meeting together with all your colleagues, and in order to plan how we'll work, and also for fees, because I need many courses, and we need to plan and know how to pay, because I want to split to pay, to split all the courses.
Yeah.
And yes, we could say you have to pay this, and we will do this for you. So
All right.
that
Got it.
is,
So
and every month I
can
will
you just
pay.
put your contact number or contact details on the chat? I'll just take it with my team here. Let's put it on the.
Yeah. I have put it. My email, my contact number, my
Okay.
phone contact number is maybe good to do that like that, and we plan how to make me understanding very well those courses by step by step.
Sure. Sure. We'll definitely do that. Yes. Reach out to us. Use this form. Otherwise, the number to contact us, and we'll definitely guide you on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have done Oracle, but only developing, but never do DBA. But I would like to do it.
Okay. Sure. Yes. Yes, definitely. We'll guide you and just reach out to us, and that should be helpful.
Okay. I will write you, and in order to have maybe a Zoom with all the colleagues, and we will see how to do.
Sure. Definitely. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Let's go and wrap
Yeah.
this. We'll connect back sometime later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.